What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Pentley Holmes, that singer-songwriter in pursuit of a wild dream, and I wanted to welcome you back to another video. Thank you again very much for being here. I was thinking today about the topic, and being that I've traveled solo for many years, all my trips to other countries, and a lot of the things I do, the majority of things I do are by myself. Someone once asked me, they said, "Don't you get lonely?" And it's a beautiful question, a totally normal question to ask. And I remember I thought about it for a second. I was like, no, not really. And it's just like, there's just so many people to meet and find when you're traveling, when you're out doing things. So the topic of today's video, I wanted to talk about the difference in between being alone and being lonely. Now, for me, this is something that I've really come to enjoy. I remember the first time I got dumped, I hated being alone. It was just like I had to sit with my thoughts, and they like killed me. They attacked me. They beat me down, you know. They got the best of me for sure. So I would seek out my friends. I would seek their company, basically to rant about my problems. And I realized eventually that it would like kind of annoy them, you know, because I'm always talking about the same thing, and they're happy in their lives, and they want to talk about things that they want to talk about. And, you know, the last breakup, it really crushed me. That's where I got into the video about transmutation. But when I went on my first tour, I fell in love with being alone. I fell in love with the solitude. I fell in love with the peace of being able to do anything that I want. And then I found out, I recognized that when I'm in solitude, that my thoughts were clearer. I could hear my thoughts clearer. It's almost like I had access to another voice, another intelligence, and I became addicted to being alone. And this isn't to say that I don't like company, that I don't like being around other people, because I love being around other people. I love company. I'm human, you know, that's something that humans need. But the way that my mind works, the way that my mind functions, the way that I've come to understand my mind, I work better. I'm a better person with solitude. It gives me time to recharge. It gives me time to think about things. I love to think about things. I love to think about things deeply. I don't have time for surface level conversations. I mean, I have time for it. It just isn't something that I'm into. For example, every day at work, no matter how hot or cold it is, I always go outside and sit in my car, or I'll sit outside somewhere by myself so that I can process my thoughts. You know, the majority of people at work, they'll sit in the break room and they'll talk loud and they'll jokes. And it's just like, sometimes I do stay in there. Sometimes I do stay in there just to observe and to listen. And it's the same thing every day. In my opinion, it's the same thing every day. It's the same person being loud every day. It's the same laughter, the same surface level conversation. And I'm not saying that because there's anything wrong with surface level conversation. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with community. Me, personally, I vibrate. My frequency is on a completely different wavelength. And I need deeper conversation than, hey, how you doing? How's the weather? Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. You know, the automatic responses. And I prefer not to engage in those kind of things. You know, I still see people and I'll say, hey, how's it going? You know, how you doing? But when someone asks you that, they're not looking for a real answer. They're just being nice. And there's nothing wrong with that again. But I digress. And solitude for me as a creative is a way to think. It's a way to create. I can think about the songs I'm writing. You know, sometimes I get writer's block and I need to process how to get to the next line. And I'll just think about a line over and over and how I can get to the next line, or how I can overcome this problem that I'm stuck on guitar. It gives me time to research. Versus, as let me touch on this alone, where you're being alone, where you're lonely, you're desperate for the company of someone else. You're scrolling on social media, looking at other people's lives, comparing your life to other people. Your loneliness is when you need other things. Loneliness is a prison when you feel alone. And the truth be told, you never are alone. And I'll go in deeper into that in another video. I know I keep saying that, but I will. You're never alone. There's always someone around if you need to talk to someone. I don't care who you are. If you needed to get in touch with someone, there's someone available to you, no matter what you're going through. And in these travels, when I would be in the car for 19 hours a day, I could always stop at a gas station and find someone to talk to. I could always stop into a bar before I'm playing, or stop into a restaurant or something like that and find somebody to talk to. I said stop into a bar, like I don't drink anymore, but I used to hang out in bars, and there's always people there, you know, running from loneliness that you can communicate with. But it's like, even in gigs, you know, I enjoy the hour before the gig where it's just me setting up by myself and I'm just processing my day. I'm just processing my thoughts. I'm going through my process, you know. To me, solitude is a very beautiful thing. I drove across the country many times. I can put on a podcast and I can just knock the whole thing out. I can listen to it uninterrupted without someone else's thoughts breaking and interrupting, making me have to pause it. Even now, like if I'm working and I have an earbud in, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to an audiobook or some kind of informational podcast, something that's going to grow my mind. And someone will come in my trailer and they'll just be trying to shoot the shit. And I recognize it's like, there'll be a guy, he'll come in the same thing every day. Yo, bro, don't try to steal my girl. Stop trying to steal my girl. And it's just like, bro, nobody's even thinking about your girl. He's just joking. But it's like the same thing. Like the conversation never gets deeper than that same joke every day. So it's just like, he comes in and it's kind of like annoying. You know, you can see him coming and you know what he's going to say. And then he says what you know he's going to say. And literally all he's doing is interrupting your thought process. And it's like the same reason I have 0 notifications on my phone other than like text messages. Even my email notifications are off, and like my phone's always on silent or vibrate. So if you call me, most of the times I won't hear it. Like I'll get back to you. I have certain points of the day when I check my phone. I don't have one of those phones that's constantly buzzing and ringing and making all these noises, because you are not going to interrupt me in my process. It's freedom. Being alone for me is freedom. I like to live alone. I like to work alone, except for when I have to work with other people. I love collaboration. I'm not saying I don't love collaboration. When you can find a mind that's similar to yours in your thought process or the way that you work, it can be a beautiful thing. Traveling alone is one of the most beautiful things. People don't understand it. They're like, you're going to that country by yourself? I'm like, yeah, I'm going by myself. It's because I can set an itinerary and I can change it if I want to. I don't have to confirm with anyone what I want to do. When I'm driving across the country, when I decide to pack my things up and just do a little road trip, I never have to ask anyone. I never have to consult anyone about what we're going to listen to on the ride, when we're going to stop, how long we're going to be stopped. Everything I get to do, I'm in control of 100%. And to me, that is the ultimate freedom. Solitude for me is freedom. And it's not really something at this point in my life I'm willing to trade for anything. I never feel alone, because once I understood that there's always access to someone, there's always going to be a person at the gas station to have surface level conversation with. There's always going to be my best friend, Q, I love you, bro, who I can call and pick up and he'll be there to listen to me, to shoot the breeze with. When you really step back and think about it, everyone has someone. It depends if you're willing to go there and meet that person where they're at, you know? And at the end of the day, for me, solitude and being alone, not being lonely, is the ultimate freedom. It's the ultimate opportunity for me to create more. These moments that I have right here to sit with you uninterrupted, except for when maybe someone walks by or what have you, are the ultimate moments that I live for. I want to thank you for watching this video. My name is Pentley Holmes. I'm a singer-songwriter in pursuit of a wild dream. And we'll probably do a part 2 to this video, a scripted version, because I would really love to go deeper on this topic. If you'd like to get in touch with me, book me for a show, have me come over for a house show, we'll pass the hat around. We'll do a potluck, share some food, and I'll tell you some stories, and I'll play you some music. Feel free to send me an email, reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again, as always, for listening.